Carney ready to resume. U.S.-Canada trade talks halted. I can't speak. Talks halted by Trump over Reagan ad. You might be wondering, what is this about? Well, Donald Trump and the current Prime Minister of Canada were having talks about how to come to an agreement on trade going forward. You see, Trump has pointlessly done a universal tariff on all imports from Canada of, I believe, I think it was 60 to 80%. He might have even brought it up to 100 in retaliation for something that, like, the Canadian Prime Minister or something said. Trump's tariffs are really stupid. Really stupid. Unbelievably stupid. For more reasons than I can count, but fundamentally, this one alone is probably the biggest. Trump's stated goal in putting these tariffs into place is to encourage US manufacturing. There's one big problem with that, though. America does not have the facilities to widespread manufacture goods that will then be consumed by the American people and people abroad, or just the American people, and to actually be able to meet market demand. We do not have the facilities. It will take us upwards of 6 years to construct the facilities, and that would be the point where we can start production in a scale that could meet market demand among Americans for certain products. Without that, we rely heavily on imports from overseas. And that makes sense. America is not an economy that runs on manufacturing. We are not a country of people who work assembly lines. We're a country of people who work front desks. We are a country of people who work data entry. We are a country of people that work jobs that involve providing a service for someone, not making a product for someone. We work jobs that involve selling things to people, not making things that get sold to people. And that is a better economy. That is a better place to live as a person. Labor that involves production of things is not pleasant, and it oftentimes feels like slavery. We know that because in the countries that make our stuff, they have suicide nets outside the factories. But all that aside, let's assume we even wanted to or could produce things in any large scale here in America instead of having them imported from overseas. You need one fundamental thing to do any kind of manufacturing in America. That's raw resources. Let's say your business is manufacturing something as simple as steel beams. Well, you need raw steel. America can source a fair amount of iron and carbon and whatnot and make steel. Don't get me wrong, we have steel mills. But China is the #1 exporter of steel in the world. Meanwhile, America is kind of, we consume a lot of steel. We consume a lot of fucking steel. A huge amount. A ridiculous amount. More than we make. And so we have to import it. The problem with this is that America can't source these resources, has to ship them in, and this, when you ship in resources, not goods that you plan to sell, but resources you plan to manufacture with, it's called an input. And when Trump put his tariffs in place, he didn't just tariff products that are going to be on store shelves sold to people. He tariffed the inputs too. He tariffed lumber. He tariffed steel. He tariffed any kind of raw material used to produce things in America, along with the things produced overseas. Meaning, in no way whatsoever has Trump done anything that encourages manufacturing in the United States. None of what he does actually helps. And so, the Carney campaign, basically the Canadian government, put out an ad that criticizes Trump on the grounds that his own policy contradicts someone who is considered the greatest Republican of all time in most cases by many Republicans. For a long time, they've considered him the best, Reagan. Let me see if I can actually find the ad really fast. Carney Reagan ad. Let me see if I can find it really fast. I feel like it should be pretty easy to find.
Overnight.
Okay, here's a story about it. I think it should get brought up here. Also, is this Mr. Mooten? What the fuck?
Trade talks with Canada are now on ice. President Trump announced he's canceling negotiations with one of America's biggest allies over a Canadian TV ad opposing U.S. tariffs. It features an address by former President Ronald Reagan. The escalation as the president hopes to cool trade tensions further east.
I know, fuck Ronald Reagan, but they basically edited Ronald Reagan into the context of criticizing Trump, and it matches perfectly, and Trump got real mad about it.
Jared Hill has the latest.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports.
An ad from Ontario featuring parts of an address by former U.S. President Ronald Reagan.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Has apparently caught the ire of President Donald Trump. In a social media post overnight, Trump called the ad fake, declaring all trade negotiations are hereby terminated, citing a response from the Reagan Foundation claiming the video
Dude, Canada is America's #1 trade partner. Maybe, okay, it might be #2. Canada's like America's #2 trade partner next to China, okay? Like, this is unbelievably stupid. As you can imagine, the results this has had in the market have been... they've been quite obvious. Can I show you guys something unbelievable that helps to put into perspective how bad Trump's market sense is when it comes to running this country? U.S. GDP by quarter 2025. Let's take a look at the GDP over the course of this last year. I want to show you guys something. I want to show you guys something real crazy. Here, there's a very particular chart I wanted to show you. Where's the GDP? Here it is. Holy shit. This speaks volumes about how Trump handles an economy. This speaks volumes about what Trump knows about handling the U.S. economy. GDP data shows the U.S. economy shrank more than previously thought in early 2025. The U.S. economy shrank faster than previously thought during the first 3 months of 2025, that was Q1, with growth contracting for the first time in 3 years. The country's gross domestic product fell at an annual rate of 0.5% from January through March. The Commerce Department reported Thursday in its third and final GDP report for the period. The agency's initial first quarter GDP report, issued in April, estimated a 0.3% decline, which was later revised to a 0.2% dip in its second print. First quarter growth was weighed down by a surge of imports as U.S. companies and households rushed to buy foreign goods before the Trump administration's tariffs went into effect. Although a surge in imports can appear to lower economic growth because it shows a shift away from the domestic consumption, that doesn't tell the whole story about the U.S. economy, experts say. A category within the GDP data called Real Final Sales to Private Domestic Purchasers, which measures the economy's underlying strength, rose at a 1.9% annual rate from January through March. While that represents a solid number, it's down from 2.9% pace in the fourth quarter of 2024 and from the Commerce Department's previous estimate of 2.5% January through March growth. The new data also shows that consumers sharply pared spending earlier this month, with growth at 0.5%, down from a robust 4% during the last 3 months of 2024. So that was all the first quarter of the year. The first 3 months, we saw unprecedented drops in U.S. GDP growth. One thing I want to point out, though, is that not a lot of people talked about it. People didn't seem to really feel it all that much, at least not compared to the economic crashes we've experienced in the past. That is until the last couple days, frankly. Data has just come in demonstrating that a staggering amount of Americans in recent weeks are missing their car payments. Missing your car payments is one of the #1 indicators that Americans not only don't have any money for spending, they don't have the money to pay their bills. Your car payment is the first thing to go when you're really short on cash. because, you know, you can live without a car at the end of the day. You can figure it out. But you can't live without a house, electricity, internet, water, etc. So those are the things that go last. You don't cut into the grocery or rent budget until you absolutely can't afford them. And right now, people can't afford their car payments. This means that people can't afford their basic fundamental necessities anymore at a growing rate. It's a pretty big deal. Has Trump made the eggs cheaper yet? Was it worth it, guys? Guys, was it worth it? Did Trump make the eggs cheaper? Guys, are we saved? Did we beat wokeness? Is America saved from the woke? Did we do it?
This represents Reagan's words. It's the latest escalation in a rift with Canada amid Trump's trade strategy imposing new tariffs and import limits. Canadian backlash helped clinch an election win for Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Did we do it, guys? Did we make America great again? Did we do it? Has it finally happened? Are we tired of winning yet?
Relationship with the United States will never again be the same as it was.
Today's stalemate with America's neighbor to the north.
Trump has irreparably broken America's trade relationship, or just Trump has broken America's relationship in general with all other countries between America. Like, their future administrations will have to struggle when it comes to negotiating with other countries because of Trump's actions. That's what's so stressful as an American. Like, we will never be able to live this down even after we vote this guy out of office.
North comes as President Trump gears up for tariff talks with the U.S.'s biggest economic rival in the East.
I expect we'll probably work out a very fair deal with President Xi of China.
The two expected to meet at an economic summit in South Korea next week. Earlier this month, the president threatened an additional 100% tariff on Chinese imports. American soybean farmers caught in the middle as China has completely stopped buying from the U.S.
I forgot to mention, yes, farmers have struggled so hard since Trump came into office, especially in the last quarter. It has been rough for farmers. They are begging him for mercy. Ironically, they also voted him into office, so I wonder how that's going to work out for Trump's party in the future, or Trump himself, if he does follow through and run for a third term. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up going, because the farmers are not happy. They relied heavily on selling overseas. Americans are only so much of a population. One of the few things that we actually, quote-unquote, made and sold, exported, and people bought from overseas was our produce. There's a lot of produce we can grow in large amounts that are unique to America, that you can't really grow in such large amounts other places, and so people have to buy them from us. And we cornered the market, but now we're losing the markets we once cornered because countries are engaging in retaliatory tariffs against us, making it more expensive to buy our exports. And they're just buying their own, they're either buying things exported from other countries that aren't America, or they are buying stuff that are Canadian made, Mexican made, etc. And these are countries that actually have production-based economies and can afford to do that. America cannot afford to forego buying from overseas companies. We don't have that kind of economy. Those other countries, though, they're not going to get hit as hard by doing this. You know, it's like they're going on a hunger strike, but we're the ones going hungry.
Thought that we would be having some trade tension, but we had no idea it would be this type of trade tension in this type of chaos.
Meanwhile, Canada working to clear the air as Carney sought to negotiate with Trump during a White House visit earlier this month.
Earlier this week, the Canadian Prime Minister.
So, this whole situation has led to an immense amount of economic turmoil, and another demonstration of the fact that Donald Trump does not know the first thing about trade. I know I say this constantly, but it really should not stop being repeated. No economist would tell Trump it was a good idea to tariff inputs. It is such an oversight at best and a demonstration of ignorance at worst. Hell, actually, I'd say at worst a demonstration of malice that shows he absolutely is not qualified to have any kind of input over how the US and global markets operate. His touch turns everything to shit, and some adult in the room needs to get his ass under control, or the biggest economy on the planet is going to suffer, and it's going to suffer hard. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this video, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Whether you're watching live or in the future when this goes out as a video, it really does help a lot and it's totally free. Boost the channel and the algorithm. Consider leaving a hype as well, and subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to get notified when I go live or upload in the future, so that YouTube, you just be subscribed. You want to see more from me, of course. And if you want to see more from me on other platforms, consider following my social medias linked down below in the description, particularly my fan Discord, as that is the main hub of my community and fan base. I actually host weekly gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there. And on top of that, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep a roof over my head and the lights on here and food in my fridge so I can bulk up and get big like a lion, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support my content though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you again soon.